Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Summa salatu wassalamu ala nabiyyina Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in wa ala kulli man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin. Wa ba'da, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqatih wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu وقولوا قولا شديدا يصلي لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم جنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Inshallah, today our reminder is another very important aspect of our worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is related to our earning, our income, what we eat from. As we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us Islam as a complete package, a system of life that regulates every aspect of the life of a believer. We are not left to wonder what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. The clear guideline is given in everything a believer will do. So part of that is the worship, the rituals of worship that consist of the 5 pillars of Islam as we know them from Hadith Jibril. They're all listed, and the Prophet ﷺ gave us a clear indication how to perform those steps in worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And another, it is the things that are connected also to the worship. They are indirect worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is our mutual dealings, the things that we do between ourselves in society, how we interact. And part of that is obviously eating. So we are commanded what to eat and what not to eat. In fact, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ told us that everything that has been prohibited, Allah has made it clear for us. So we are not left in the dark. What is allowed is known, and what is prohibited is also known. In the middle, there are doubtful elements, and whoever want to protect their deen should abstain from those doubtful matters. This is a statement or something like that coming from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So today we will talk about halal income. Halal income. How do we know whether something is halal or haram? Leave the income part aside. Just focus on how, as Muslims, we know that something is halal or haram. Do we have list of all the halal things and list of all the haram things? No. The way to determine something is halal or haram is that there is a principle which states that anything that is not specifically mentioned as haram is halal by essence. Anything that is not specifically listed as haram is halal by essence. So it means you have the list of all the prohibited items. As for the rest, they are all halal. So How about income? What is the meaning of income? For those who speak English. I don't speak English. I'm only trying to use it to communicate, but it's very difficult sometimes. What is income? How do you define what is called income? Okay, salary is part of your income. Okay, what else?
Things that you own or have.
Things that you own. What are the means by which we can own something? Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We have an economist coming into the class, mashallah. He's going to help us with some definition of the terms. What are the means by which we can own something? If you say, for example, this phone is mine, what are the usual means of earning this phone? Is you make it, or you buy it, or you are giving it as a gift, donation, or you have inherited it, okay, and so forth. So these are means by which we acquire, we earn something, we get something. We work for it, or we are giving it as a gift, or we have inherited it from someone, from relatives, from parents or near relatives. So in Islam, when you study economics, you will find two main branches of economics. One is called the economic science. Economic science is the system which studies the use of resources to produce something. So this is called economic system. I mean economic science. Economic science. The economic system, which is the second branch of economics, studies the distribution of those items produced from the economic science. When you go to any economic class, very basic, one of the things they will teach you is that the economic science consists of looking at ways and means to allocate limited resources to produce element, or to produce articles, or to produce product that are needed to satisfy unsatiable needs that human beings have. There are so much we cannot even meet them. But when you look at it in practical reality as a believer, you will know that the needs of human beings, they are not unlimited. The needs of human beings, they are limited. So it's a fallacy, it's a false claim to say that the needs of human beings are unlimited. This is the drive, I mean the motto of the very drive of society into materialism. We will just keep on going and going, accumulating more and more. So when you look at the Islamic point of view of economics, you will find then the Islamic Sharia, I mean the Sharia, is silent about economic science. The Sharia does not involve itself in regulating economic science except very few areas. Inshallah, we'll look at some of them. But when it comes to the economic system, which consists of distributing now these products, then the Sharia stepped in to regulate it. That's where you will find the buying and the selling. where the door of riba will open, when the door of lying and cheating and all the bad things will happen. It's happened mostly in the economic system, not in the economic science. The very few things that the Sharia regulates when it comes to economic science involve the production or the processing of items that are already prohibited by nature. These are, for example, alcohol. For example, anything that involves the meat of the pork, the swine. And these are items prohibited by nature. The items themselves, they are prohibited. So, inshallah, we'll go and breaking down some of these gradually, slowly. And if at the end I miss something important, we have some brothers here, inshallah, they will bring me back to the on track. We will talk about them. So, first of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded the believers, but actually He addressed all mankind. He addressed all mankind in the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 168. He said, O mankind, meaning people, eat what is good and lawful from the earth. What is good and lawful. So you can eat anything that is categorized by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as good and lawful. And then he said, do not follow Shaitan's footsteps, for he is your sworn enemy. He said, Ya ayyuhan nasu, kulu mimma fil ardi, halalan tayyiban, wala tattabi'u khutwati shaitan, innahu lakum aduun mubin. Said, O you who believe, do not follow the footsteps of Shaitan. What Shaitan will do? He will beautify those prohibited items for us in order to attract us to fall into the prohibition of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You remember, halal is clear, haram is clear. In the middle, that's where Shaitan will play his game. And then the Prophet ﷺ is reported to have said from Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, a prominent companion of the Prophet ﷺ, reported that the Prophet said, Allah the Almighty is good, meaning Allah is pure and only accept that which is good, that is which is pure. Allah will not associate himself, he will not accept anything that is not pure, because himself is pure. And then verily Allah has commanded the believers to do that which he has commanded the messengers. What Allah has commanded the messengers, he said, so the Almighty said, O you messengers, eat of the tayyib, all kind of halal, legal things, and perform righteous deeds. This is the command Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to the Prophet. And the same command he has given to the believers. Same command. It's reported, in the Quran, in Surah Al-Mu'minun, chapter 23, ayah 51. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said further, O you who believe, eat of the lawful things, that which we have provided for you. So whatever you are earning is already decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for you. You don't have to lose all your life focusing on what Allah has already decreed for you. The last ayah of Surah Luqman. The last ayah of Surah Luqman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has listed 5 things that are guaranteed. He has guaranteed these 5 things by himself. You don't need to strive for it. Yes, you have to work to earn your living, but these are guaranteed. Whatever effort you do, you will never go beyond what has been decreed. So then, he, meaning the Prophet ﷺ, mentioned the case of a man who having journeyed far, he traveled very far. And we know the dua of a traveler is normally one of those highly expected to be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But then he said is disheveled and dusty, meaning the man has traveled far, tired, and looking for some ways for some help. He said, and who spread out his hand to the sky, saying, the man is now in desperate need, raising his hands, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, oh Lord, meaning, oh Allah, asking Allah for some kind of help. He said, while his food is haram. That's the point. If your food is haram, it means there is something wrong there. And then his drink is haram. His clothing is haram. And he has been nourished with haram. So how can this supplication be answered? This is what the Prophet ﷺ is mentioning in this narration. It's reported by Imam Muslim, and Imam An-Nawawi in his collection, he reported this 40 hadith. You will find it is a very important hadith that every Muslim should be aware of. Because who does not need to make dua? Who does not need to seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps at a certain time in our life? No, all the time. So we will have to call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for your dua to be accepted, you have to have your sustenance to be halal. So your sustenance must be halal, your clothing must be halal, and your drink must be halal, and anything in the process must be halal. Otherwise, don't expect your dua to be answered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of the precedence. He said Allah is pure, He only accepts what is pure. So there is no room for anybody to take from the unlawful and expect they will succeed with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah will not accept what is unlawful. But then when we look at this, we recapitulate that our sustenance is guaranteed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whatever you are earning, what is the end game of it? What is the goal? What is the ultimate? Because we already mentioned the false claim of economics as it is known, that the needs of human beings are unlimited. Do you need more than one house for yourself? Is it a need? No, it's not a need. The movement is beyond one for a chair, for a house, for anything. That's not a need. You can only sit on one chair. You don't need another one for sitting down. You only need a house as a basic. The rest is not a need anymore. So the needs of human beings are not unlimited. But the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that even to every nation, a trial was given. To every ummah that came before us, a trial, a test was given to them. When you read the Quran, you will find in Surah Al-Anbiya, in Surah Al-Qasas, and many other surah, stories of the Prophet and their people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test those people and He will send a prophet. What kind of test each nation was given is mentioned. And the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that he said, verily, there is a fitna or trial for every nation, and the trial of my nation is wealth. So despite knowing that our needs are limited, we will still compete for wealth. We will still compete for accumulating more and more and more wealth. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, inna li kulli ummatin fitnatun wa fitnatu ummati al-mal. This is the narration of the hadith reported by Imam Tirmidhi. And then in another narration, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a time will come when one will not care how he gains his money, whether it's legally or in illegal means. What is pushing the believers and mankind into this competition? It's because we are fixing in our minds, of course with the help of shaitan, that we are in need of more resources because our needs are unlimited. You are seeking to store more for tomorrow. You are seeking to accumulate more and more. But then the Prophet ﷺ has already warned us that the son of Adam, hadith reported by Ibn Abbas radiallahu anh, that if the son of Adam is given a valley, meaning a vast distance of land covered by wealth, money or gold, if he is given 2 valleys of gold, he will wish for a 3rd one. Subhanallah. And then, for nothing can fill the belly of the son of Adam except dust, and Allah forgive him who repent to him. So meaning, again, we will keep on competing and accumulating. What do we achieve at the end? When you have more than what you need, what do you do with money? Can anybody tell me what you do with money? Why you need money?
Pay your bills.
Pay the bills. After paying the bills, you have more than enough to pay your bills. What else is left?
Shahwa.
It's shahwa. It's playing. It has no other goal other than entertaining yourself. It's pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. That's why you see disbelievers, even some believers, but I will particularly focus on disbelievers. They will never be satisfied with one kind of pleasure. They will go to the next level, they will go to the next level, they'll go to the next level until it becomes the cause of their own destruction. How many times you heard famous rich people have killed themselves in one way or the other? Is the shahawat. So the end game is you will keep on going beyond all limit, and you will fall into the prediction of the Prophet ﷺ that nothing will satisfy the son of Adam except dust. When the grave is dug, the person is put inside there, and the what is called the grave is filled with the earth. That's what will fill the son of Adam. Otherwise, the rich people, they want to go more and more and more, and the poor people are envying the rich people, and it's a cycle. It keeps on going. That's why when we read the Quran as believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha wal tanzur nafsum ma qaddamat liqad. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullah. O you who believe, fear Allah. Be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, wal tanzur nafsum ma qaddamat liqad. Be mindful of what you send forward. What do we send forward? What we send forth with our own hands is the deeds that we get, and we earn some money. We spend that money in some ways, and this action will be waiting for us. وَلْتَنْظُرْ نَفْسٌ مَا قَدَّمَتْ لِغَدٍ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ أُولَئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. He said, do not be like those people who forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this competition until Allah made them to forget themselves. And then he said, La yastawi ashabul nari wa ashabul jannah, ashabul jannati humul faizun. He said, the people of hell, they are not like the people of paradise. The people of paradise, they are the successful one. We can understand the beginning of this ayat in another way. When you are accumulating more and more money, more than what you need to pay your bills, to give to charity, to prepare for your hereafter, what you leave behind is also something what you are sending forth, because the consequences of that will follow you. Now imagine someone striving, earning more than what they need, but they don't prepare anything for the hereafter. They leave this wealth behind with family and relatives, friends and relatives. While we know the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, when he said 3 things will accompany a person at the grave. What are the 3 things? Your family, your wealth, and your deeds. 2 will come back. The other one will remain with that person. The same people who you are striving to leave some inheritance for, they will come back, sit in your house, put the light on, start deciding about the wealth you have left behind. They will start distributing it. Okay, this jacket goes to this man, that car goes to this daughter, and this house goes to this wife. And they will start distributing your wealth under light. It's no darkness. While you, the one who was striving for it, accumulating it anyhow without caring how you earn it, you will be in the darkness of the grave. When you will need more light, you spending your entire life striving to accumulate that wealth anyhow, anyway, it is not yours anymore. Some people are sitting, relaxing with AC and all that. You are in the depths of that grave in darkness when you need more light. This wealth, you have not used it to enlighten your grave by giving the zakat, by giving sadaqah. You have not checked how you earn this wealth, whether it is in a halal way or haram way. That's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will start cautioning. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said by Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he said, the son of Adam will not be dismissed from his Lord. You will not depart one step from the day of standing. When we stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, you will not move one step until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has cautioned you about 5 things. And those 5 things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask is his slave is his life, how he lived it, how you lived your life. Is it in accordance to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or according to your wishes and desires, according to the wishes and desires of society? Number 2, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask the person about his youth, how he used it. When you are able, you are fit, did you use your time to perform your duties toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Were you regular in your prayer? Are you fasting in the month of Ramadan? Did you perform Hajj when you are able to? These type of questions will come. It's not when the person is old, paralyzed, cannot move anymore, start regretting, oh, I wish I did this, I did that, I did that. What were you doing when you were young? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala needs you when you are young. Shaitan also needs you when you are young. It's when you are young, Shaitan is calling you to go to the evil places. It's also when you are young that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling you to respond to His command. And when you look at the Quran, He is commanding youth. He is commanding youth to stand up for His message. For example, He said to Prophet Yahya alayhi salatu wasalam, they call him John the Baptist. It's recorded in Surah Maryam. He said, Ya Yahya, khuzil kitaba biquwwa. He said, oh Yahya, hold the book with strength. When do you have strength? It's at your youth. It's not when you are old. When you are old, you are frail. You cannot even hold your own walking stick sometimes. You have to lean on someone else. He's commanding similar thing to Prophet Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. He's commanding Prophet Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was commanded, he was given prophethood at the top of his youth, at full strength at the age of 40. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will surely caution you about your youth. And then the most important now here, Allah will caution about his wealth, how he earned it and how he spent it. How you earned your wealth, how you spend it, two questions only related to the wealth. All the others is one question. But for the wealth, you have to justify how you earned it and how you spend it. So the income we earn, we must be very, very careful whether this is earned in a lawful way, acceptable by the Sharia, or in an unlawful way. We also must make sure where we spend it, because we will be cautioned about every cent. We all know the story of the dream of Abdurrahman bin Auf, radiallahu anhu. He came back, he said he had a dream. I can't recall the story correctly. He told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam whether the Prophet dreamed about him. He said, oh Abdurrahman, I've been waiting for you. And you came back to me running and sweating. I've been waiting here for so long. Abdurrahman bin Auf replied, O Messenger of Allah, Allah was cautioning me about my wealth. He did not leave 1 cent without asking me how I earned it and where I spent it. And these are the people who earned their wealth in a very, very lawful way. We know the principle of business of Abdurrahman bin Auf. I think many of us in business are aware how he started his business after the migration. They moved from Mecca, they arrived in Medina. He was paired with someone who is a trader. And then this man wanted to split his wealth to give to Abdurrahman bin Auf half of it. He said, no, I only want you to show me the marketplace. So they cared about every cent they are earning. It's not that you will earn your money anyway, anyhow. You will be cautioned about it. And the last thing is your knowledge, how you acted upon that knowledge. And this is something very serious. Particular cases that are strictly prohibited, we know them, as I mentioned, by nature. These earning from these items are strictly prohibited. There is a principle in the Sharia which states that anything that is haram, trading the price of it is also haram. So this is part of shutting the doors leading to the haram things. This is part of limiting shutting the doors of expanding what is haram. Anything that is prohibited, the price of it is also prohibited, and mostly all the actions surrounding it are also prohibited. We will mention a few cases. The particular case of alcohol, for example. Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah has cursed, am I pronouncing it? Help me please. Cursed alcohol. Meaning that anything related to alcohol in this, Allah has not put any barakah on it. He said, Allah has cursed alcohol. The one who drinks it, so earning from alcohol is haram. So it's opposite to what we are talking about, halal. And drinking the alcohol is haram. Spending your money in buying the alcohol is haram. The one who poured it, the one who is serving the alcohol. So working in a place where you will serve the alcohol and earning your money from that become haram income for you. The one who is serving it is cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So earning from that, if that's your job, it becomes haram. And then the one who buys it. So if you become the customer, whether you will consume it or you will resell it, it doesn't matter. You are involved in the process. Earning from that chain is haram. And the one who squeezes it, meaning the one who squeezes the grapes, the one who is making it, making the alcohol, he is cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are not allowed to have a farm with the intention to grow the grapes, and these grapes you have the firm destination, this is to produce alcohol in the end. You cannot have that intention. You can have the farm of the grapes as a farm. You will how you call it, when you will harvest. You will harvest the fruit, you will put them into the market and sell, or for whatever use, but it cannot be used for alcohol, for producing alcohol. And then the one for whom it is squeezed, for whom this is squeezed for, whether someone is employing you to do that and squeeze it for him, whether you will drink it or resell it, or it doesn't matter, you are involved in the chain. Earning from that is prohibited. You cannot use anything in that. The one who carries it, the one who is transporting it, whether now you are the one loading it into the car, or you are the one driving the car, or you are the one offloading it, anybody involved in that process, the one who is carrying it is also cursed. You see how many categories of people are cursed because of one single prohibited item. And then he said, and the one to whom it is carried. The one to whom it is carried. This hadith is reported by Imam Abu Dawud, is classed as Sahih by Sheikh Albani rahimahullah. So when we are talking about halal income, anything related to a prohibited item by nature, all the chain related to that item are also prohibited. We'll give some more example, inshallah. Another obvious haram income is reported by Abu Juhayfa radiallahu anhu. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam cursed a lady who practices tattooing. Tattoo. This is very common practice now in our time. I'm touching my shoulder not because I have tattoo. It's to show that mostly people, they do it on their shoulder, on the neck, and other part of the body. So the Prophet ﷺ here again is reported to have cursed a lady who is practicing tattooing. So the job of doing tattooing, earning from that is prohibited. That is not halal. Why I'm talking about halal income, but I'm only focusing on haram things? Because I already mentioned the principle in the beginning that we cannot list all the halal jobs. We cannot list all the halal jobs. So we will only shift the focus the other way around to mention the few things that are prohibited. I hope you get my point. Otherwise, I will be here until I become older, listing items that are halal. Subhanallah. I'm already old and older. That's why I said, you want to tease me anyway. So, the Prophet ﷺ cursed the lady that is practicing tattooing, the one who gets herself or himself tattooed. So, you cannot use your money and go to get a tattoo writing here, whatever, your initials. The money is yours, but you are spending it in a non-halal way. And you will be cautioned about that if you do. And then the one who eats or takes riba. We'll mention the particular case of riba, inshallah, meaning it's usury. And the one who gives it, the one who gives riba also. And he prohibited taking the price of a dog. A lot of people want to keep a dog as a pet, which is fine in certain standard. As long as this dog will serve you 2 purposes or 3. Number 1, it is a guardian dog. It's there to protect your house from burglars, thieves coming into your house. Or it is used for hunting. I'm a hunting dog. I think most of you are too young to understand what is hunting because you grow up in cities. You never know what is hunting. It's to go in the bush with your tools, guns or anything for hunting.
We call it shopping.
Okay. Now you go for shopping. You cannot take your dog for shopping. It cannot be halal for you. And then, so the price of a dog, you cannot sell a dog and get the price. Why? Why? Fundamental reason is we are prohibited to eat the dog. Dog meat is very popular in certain countries, but it is prohibited for Muslims. We cannot eat the meat of the dog. SubhanAllah, this is the beauty of Islam. It's the only religion which tells you you are not allowed to kill another human being and eat their meat. No other religion has this specific line to say you cannot eat another human being. If they don't do, it's not because their religion is prohibiting them. It's because maybe they are worried the state will catch them and put them to death. But Islam tells you that you are not allowed to eat from this and that and that and that, including human being. So you cannot take the price of the dog, you cannot eat the dog. And the money earned by prostitution. And this is very common practice. A lot of people trafficking other human beings for this purpose, from one continent to another continent, from one country to another continent, to another country, abusing their right, and sometimes they are vulnerable women and children. People who are very much defenseless. They have no way to defend themselves. They go through all kind of abuses, and many of them end up dying in the process. So the Prophet ﷺ has prohibited this practice, and it is not permissible for any believer. This is for all mankind, but particularly for the believers, because those who don't believe in Allah, they don't care. They just do as they please. But for a human being who is conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he cannot be engaged into such activities. And the money earned by, and then we said, he cursed the makers of pictures. So if your job is art, we have people who are artists, they can do some drawing and all that and all. So you cannot make your living on drawing pictures and selling them. The income becomes haram for you. If these pictures involved a living being. Because in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ clarified these things. Very severe warning that whoever makes a picture of a human being or drawing of a human being, on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask the person to put the soul also on that. That is impossible. In this world, we don't know where is the soul. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ. They will ask you about the soul. قُلْ إِلْمُهَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. Tell them the knowledge about the soul is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't know about these things. We don't have advanced medicine to detect where your soul is, which part of the body, so that you can capture it and transfer it from one body to another. We do body transplant, right? People take the kidney, they take eyes, many kind of transplant happening, but we don't have transplant of the soul. This is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the picture makers, they are also cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam narrated. The particular case of riba, very serious, very, very, very serious. This is one of the biggest sin that any believer, because we're talking about the believers here, any believer will be inquiring from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Any believer will earn a sin from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one of the most serious. Allah is mentioning in the Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 278 and 279. He said, "O you who believe, remain conscious of Allah and give up all outstanding gain from usury, riba. If you are truly believers, if you are a true believer, give up usury. Don't be involved into it. Go away from it. And give away the gain you have from the riba, give it back, give it away. Dispose it, do not use it. For if you do not do it, then know that you are at war with Allah and His Messenger." This is a very serious thing. Who is there fighting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Who has the strength to fight with Allah and His Prophet? Nobody. People should give up usury. And then Allah is ending, He said, "But if you repent, then you should be entitled to the return of your principal." You see how Allah is just. Do not engage into riba, but take back the head of your money. The principal you put there, take it back and give up the interest. You will not do wrong, and neither you will be wronged. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu taqullaha wa zaru ma baqiya mina riba in kuntum mu'minin. He said, "O you who believe, give up what is left from the riba." And then this riba has two specific aspect under which all the doors of riba get opened. There are two types. Number one is the riba of delaying. The riba of delaying. And number two is the riba of adding. They call one is riba fadlu, is to add something. And riba nasir is to delay. These two main doors, all the other doors of riba are open. Scholars reported that there are 70 doors of riba altogether. And this is taken from one hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. I do not know the status of the hadith, whether it is authentic, Sahih, or Sahih or Hasan. I cannot determine. But in all cases, riba that is due to adding because of a delay. You take a loan. Because you don't pay it on time, you have to pay a penalty for it. You pay extra. Then this becomes adding because of the delay. Or you are borrowing 5 to return 6 because you are in need. It's called usury. You are used by the one who owns the capital, the one who is lending it to you. So anything that is added to the amount you have borrowed become riba. The smallest amount of that is becoming a riba. Then we mentioned before in the beginning that what is halal is clear. What is haram is clear. In the middle, there are doubtful things. This is where the people who are conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they take it very, very seriously. They consider that area also as part of the haram. They don't fall into it. I give the example of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, rahimahullah. Two things happen with this man that we all need to learn about. During the time of the Khalifa Harun al-Rashid, Imam Ahmad was going to study under Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah. He came, Imam Shafi'i told the Caliph Harun al-Rashid, the people of Yemen, or Amirul Mu'minin, they need a qadi, someone who is a judge. A judge, high court judge, not normal judge. He's a Supreme Court judge. And then Harun al-Rashid looked at Imam Shafi'i. He said, show us, appoint someone, we will give him the position. He looked at Imam Ahmad. He said, oh Ahmad, take the position of Qadi in Yemen. Imam Ahmad looked at Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah. He said, oh Shafi'i, had it not been for the respect I have for you coming here to take knowledge from you, I would have never spoken to you again from this day. You are telling me to take a job where I will be judging and people will bring bribery and usury in order to take up the right of other people from them, and I will be part of that process. Don't you know that I'm someone trying to go away from this dunya? He said, if you were not my teacher, I would have never spoken to you from today. See how serious this man considered. This is called al-wara wal-bara. He is protecting himself. Even though the position of a judge is not prohibited by itself, but he is worried by taking up that position, he will earn some income that is not halal. People will give him some gift. People will bribe him. People will involve into the wrong things and they feed him with haram money. Another example of the same Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, rahimahullah, he has a son called Salih. His son, Salih, was a judge himself. He was a Qadi at a time. Imam Ahmad decided he will not eat anything from his son. If you give him anything and that is from his son, he will not take it. Not because he has any problem with his son, but the moment this man is appointed in a government position, he said, your belonging, I will not eat from it anymore. How many of us want their son to be the prime minister, the chief justice, the lawyer of the community, the treasurer of all the affairs? Anything that is related to people's belonging, you want to be the one to handle it. And these righteous men, they stayed away from things that will lead them to haram. Anything that will bring them to eat something non-halal, they will stay away from it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us about this serious case of riba, that we should go away from it. We should give up riba. And this is very, very much prevalent in the world today. In fact, there is an hadith where the Prophet ﷺ is reported to have said, he said, there will be a time when even if you don't engage in usury, the effect of it will reach you. Even you yourself, you are not engaged in the riba, in the process, but the effect of it will reach you. And one of the companions was asking, O Messenger of Allah, what we do in such situation? He said, it is better for you to take your flock of sheep, stay in the mountain, even if you have to eat from the roots of the trees, so that you can avoid this. How serious this? Who is ready in our time to leave a job where they are comfortably earning just because of the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? They don't want to be engaged in riba. Riba is one of the most serious crimes anybody will engage into. There is a very serious warning before I end here. The Prophet ﷺ said, Ka'b ibn Ujra narrated, the Prophet ﷺ said, he said, Ka'b, Salat is a clear proof, meaning that when you are praying, it's clear that you are a Muslim. It is the sign to testify of your Shahada. When you say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, your Salat is proof to that. Your prayer is a proof to that, it's a testimony. And then he said, as-sawm, fasting, is an impregnable shield, meaning that a shield that cannot be broken. It will protect you from the hellfire. Why not the prayer? Why not the Hajj? Why not the Zakat? It's telling us fasting is the shield that will protect you from hell. It's the one element of sincerity that is in the fasting which determines everything. Fasting is an act of worship which requires deep sincerity with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If there is no sincerity, there is no fasting. Because anybody can show to the people any act of deed. Fasting, you cannot show it. And it requires determination. It requires really goodwill. That's when you show to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yes, I'm doing this for your sake. And then he continued, he said, and sadaqah, charity, extinguishes sins just as water extinguishes the fire. Giving charity, this is a way to wipe away the sins. We have many narration from the hadith and also ayat of the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking us to follow a bad deed with a good one so that it will wipe it. This is narration from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then a very famous video which make all of us cry when we listen to it. There is one brother who is mentioning this one about the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon his servant. He said, come with one deed, one good deed, Allah will multiply it 10 times. But you repent, Allah will wipe it away. Remember this? Yes. Very emotional. Every time you watch it, your heart will soften. So, if you really want to reduce the amount of sins that you commit, that we commit, we should be more charitable. Give more in charity. It will wipe away the sins. And then Ka'b said, the Prophet ﷺ said, this is the most serious. He said, there is no flesh raised that sprout from the unlawful except that the fire is more appropriate for it. Anything that somebody eats that is from an unlawful income, it will make them earn some flesh. It will help you maintain your body. But that, whatever is coming from that, the fat the person is earning for that or for maintaining their well-being as a result of eating the unlawful, it is only fitting for the hellfire. Now, how many people eat from unlawful? The unlawful is not only to go to the restaurant or to the market and pick up halal food and buying this and that halal. It's also the source of the money. Where you earn it, whether this is halal or not, if you feed that to yourself, know that the Prophet ﷺ has warned, no flesh that sprouts from eating unlawful things will be fit for Jannah. This is only appropriate for hellfire. May Allah protect us and protect our families and all the believers around the world from unlawful income. So, to sum up, we say anything, any job you will be engaged into, check whether items involving prohibitions are there, then your job is halal. What you earn from that job is halal, inshallah. But whatever is involving haram items, haram by nature or by association, then this job is not lawful for you. Whatever you earn from it is not halal, and you should abstain from it. We should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and look for an alternative, inshallah. Caution. We will go into caution I received when I already in preparing this. Someone sent me a question. He said, I won't be able to attend the talk, but I want to know if someone is working in a haram place and they feeding their family with that money, is it haram for the family? Any attempt?
For the family members, it won't be haram. For the wife, it would be advisable to advise the husband. Since they are not directly earning, the sin doesn't fall on them.
Right. The brother has correctly answered. If they don't have any other source of living for their sustenance, it is permissible for them to take only what is necessary, what is a necessity, not to go to extravagance, not to extra. They cannot use the haram income for their entertainment or in any other. It's only for what is necessary. This falls under the category of necessity lifts up the prohibition. It's when someone is in a very difficult situation, they are about to lose their life. They don't find anything to eat, and they see the meat of the pork, for example, and they eat only what will help them to survive. This becomes halal for them, but for that particular, not because the pork is halal itself, but because of the necessity. So for that reason only, they are allowed to take what is necessary for their minimum sustenance. This is what is derived from one of the hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ, when a lady complained that her husband is very stingy, that he does not give them any, he does not support the family basically rightly. What is given is not enough. And the Prophet ﷺ said, she asked, am I allowed to take from him without his knowledge? That is stealing, right? If you take someone's property without their knowledge, that is stealing. But in this particular case, this lady and her children, they are depending on this man only. They don't have any other source of income for their sustenance. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, if you take, don't go to any excess, take as minimum for your own sustenance and your children. And based on this, the scholars, of course, they derive the rulings. Yes, it is permissible for someone to, a family, to eat from the unlawful income of the breadwinner, which is the husband. But they should also at the same time exercise maximum pressure and look for alternatives, not just to resign themselves and say, okay, bring, I want more, add more. No, you have to put pressure and you have to look for some alternatives, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Yes.
Brother, what is the procedure in Islam when somebody relapses on their, for example, house loan? If it's taken halal in a halal manner, and it's 10-year contract, but I've been paying the brother maybe 5 years. I paid 5 years already. Now I lost my job. I'm in a very bad state. Does it require for the owner, who has not yet transferred the property under my name, give me back my 5 years worth of payment to him?
Brother is asking, I don't know, I will repeat the question for those who are watching online. Is that someone will take a mortgage and they will pay for a certain time, not covering the entire period of the mortgage contract, and then he will default. Is it that the owner, the ultimate owner or the current owner, will return back the money that has been paid for the past few years, or he has the right to take everything? This depends on the contract that you have signed. This is an agreement between you and the person at the beginning of the mortgage. Common practice here in Hong Kong, I'm not aware, but in some places, normally the person who fails or relapse in their payment, they will lose the entire amount. But that's according to the terms of the contract. It's not Sharia based. Islam is not giving any specific guideline on that. It's only by the agreement you have between you two. This is contract basically, inshallah. Yes, bro.
I think for the
agreement has to be just. So there will be whatever the clauses within the agreement has to be just. In a sense, no one actually take advantage of the other.
Absolutely. Brother Arif, Jazakumullah khairan for adding this very important point. When contracts are drawn in Islamic way, the agreement has to be transparent, it has to be fair, it has to be clear that there is no ambiguity in the terms, so that one person will take advantage of the other. There should not be any hidden point in the contract to say, okay, we were silent over that, but now I'm doing that. For example, I make the rules. If you open the door while I'm talking, you will pay a fine. And then I don't specify the fine. You walk in, I said, okay, you have to pay me 5,000. I should have specified it, make it very clear. This is the amount you pay. At least you are aware of it. So it has to be, as the brother rightly mentioned, it has to be clear for everybody. Nobody should be abused in the process. Inshallah. Yes, well.
People do business. Sometimes they mark up the price quite high.
Mm-hmm.
In Islam, is there a limit which how much they can profit from the cost, or how much they can actually mark up?
Right, the brother is asking another very important question we observe happening in around the globe. Basically, whenever there is scarcity of a product, the people who have that stock hike the price to extreme limit. He's asking whether this is allowed or prohibited in Islam. It is allowed by essence, but it is discouraged by the word of the Prophet ﷺ. He is telling us, I cannot recall the exact wording, but he discourages the people who will stock up items to wait until there are scarcity and sell it to higher price. This is discouraged. But you are not prohibited to fix any margin for a product that you are selling, as long as you make it very clear to the buyer that you are not hiding anything on it. The item doesn't have any defects, and then you don't lie. They are aware of what they are buying. If they are happy with it, fine, inshallah, but it is discouraged in Islam.
Just
Yes, bro.
a break from this question. If the buyer give you a fixed price, but the price is lower than your
Cost.
yeah, a bit, not too much. So what to do?
The brother is asking if a buyer is giving you a price lower than what you paid for the item you are selling. What do? You can freely distribute and invite me also to take some every time you have that kind of situation.
No, normally it's like 10 items. Maybe one or two is lower a bit, then the rest is okay.
No, we are allowed. This is your property. You decide at what price you will sell it. If you sell it lower than what you bought it, this is fine. You will run out of business very quickly. It's charity. But you can be a generous seller. You can be a generous seller, but
You won again. You will out of movies.
it is encouraged to give to people who are buying from you when you notice that they are poor people, they are in need. You can donate.
Super rich people.
You can earn reward by giving to them, to rich also. Make it sincerely and donate.
You can mark up a product as much as you like, but you cannot underprice, isn't it, from the market price? Can you underprice anything?
Let me understand what you mean by underprice, because you see, I have to be very careful what I said. Underpricing, if you mean, for example, the market price of this phone is 1,000, and then I decide to sell it to 800. Is that what you mean?
No, if I decide to sell it at 300.
You decide to sell it 300? Yes, you can do. There is no prohibition. This As long as the item belongs to you and it hasn't got any defect that you are hiding from the customer. Because sometimes you sell those items at low price, there is a reason for that.
But you know, like the law has, for example, even international law,
If there is a law that prohibit people from selling at a certain things, in this case, there is another principle of the Sharia that need to come into place. That is the respect of the law of the land. That's another completely different area. You cannot break the law to satisfy your own, in that particular case, yes, you cannot.
That's dumping.
Yeah, exactly. You are
Killing competition.
You are killing the competition, basically. Yes, you can't do that. Any other? Clear? MashaAllah. Jazakumullah khairan. May Allah bless us with halal income and forgive us all the wrong we do in our trade, in our businesses, in our jobs. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us away from riba. Ameen. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
The one, the one, the one, the one.